Hi everybody, welcome to another Low on Health Rambling, kind of the weekend wrap up of what I've been doing. Today is June 6th, 2010. It's a Sunday, it's around 8:30 p.m. Kind of doing this at night after I've kind of had a nice little weekend here. Once again, these things are just for me to have a reminder of what I did and just kind of posterity's sake, and I put them up on YouTube just for people to watch if they want to, if they just want to know what's going on. If not, no big deal, it's just more or less to show that I'm alive. But yeah, the weekend went by. Yay! Didn't really do much. Played a lot of Alpha Protocol, which I mentioned before was kind of the game I got last week, and I played through the weekend. I did beat it yesterday on Saturday, and I'm basically playing through it. It's a really interesting game. It doesn't look that great. Its presentation is not that great. A lot of kind of choppy animation and a lot of texture pop in. Good voice acting. The gameplay is very horrible. Like it's basically a third-person shooter with kind of RPG-esque control. It's just not good. But its design and story is really, really good, and that's basically why I'm playing through it again. There's tons of like branching paths, just like choose your own adventure type of games, just like the Heavy Rain, and the Fahrenheit and Go Prophecy as mentioned before. But this is kind of just, I'm definitely enjoying playing it through it again. I basically played through it once, played through it again, tried different weapons, realized you can only play the game with assault rifles. Don't try any other weapon. Restarted the second time on the hard difficulty, and now I'm plowing through and trying different options. So I'm actually really enjoying Alpha Protocol. So despite all the things you hear about it, it's actually, for me, it's a fun game. But moving on, let's go ahead and just see what we got. Basically, today I decided to watch, because I've been watching soap on Netflix, and I just recently just tried to watching other stuff. I rewatched Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along blog, which is awesome. If you haven't watched Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along blog, you should. But then recently in the Netflix queue, it showed that, it recently watched or whatnot, or also recommended was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And I actually was a little bit interested in this because, kind of like a scientist type of things go kind of crazy idea. So I was like, yeah, okay, no problem. I was actually interested in it, and then it kind of just fell off my radar. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind watching it. So I actually watched it today, and I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I usually don't like these types of films. But after recently watching Up, I realized, hey, give these things some chance. So, like I said, I enjoyed Up because it was big and depressing. And Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a nice little funny, science type of fiction type of movie, and I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not 100% kiddie, it's not 100% slapstick like Astro Boy was and whatnot, but I really, really enjoyed it. So if you're thinking about watching it or want to watch it with a kid, I definitely kind of recommend it. It's worth killing an hour and a half with. Moving on here. There's this thing kind of going around the web real quick. Basically, this is a really, really, really beautiful looking time-lapse photography of Japan. And not just your typical Japan stuff, but other Japan locations. In which case, one of the guy that posted it, who referenced this video, is mentioning a lot of people just go to Japan and just do Tokyo and just do, the Akihabara thing. They don't really explore, the actual country. In which case, this shows other towns and whatnot, and just how beautiful it all is. And of course, it uses kind of that time-lapse shift focus type of things. Sometimes things look like miniatures because the top's focus and the bottom's out of focus, which is actually a pretty cool technique, and I enjoy that technique in photography. But this is just a really cool thing, and I definitely recommend watching this in high def, watching this. Hopefully this doesn't lag the video here and get all jittery and cut up my audio, but it was just really, really cool watching. So I'm just going to skip around real quick. But here's some just nice little wide shots of mountains and whatnot. I always like the cityscapes because I just like basically it's a real bright and vibrant city, and that's just, I think, awesome watching this. It's definitely worth watching if you're interested in Japan or this type of photography or just anything that's beautiful looking. Moving on here, there's also this somebody decided they took basically a Maniac Mansion, which is that old, of course, game from back in the day, as we all know, and Resident Evil, and kind of made a point and click adventure. You don't actually play; it's just a video. But I definitely recommend it, fans of basically any gamer, fans of Resident Evil, Maniac Mansion. It's a fun little kind of romp through nostalgia, going through the whole first Resident Evil game. I always go look these all up, but it's basically 4 parts. It's just really cool to see what they do with the art design of Maniac Mansion with Resident Evil's story. It's really good. I definitely recommend it. I'm sorry I'm yawning. But definitely give it a watch. It's up on Destroy Cut and other places and whatnot. But surf the net for it if you're interested. Moving on here, let's do the Gamefaq polls. In which case, they actually asked how do you pronounce Gamefaqs, and I pronounce it actually Gamefaqs, which is the second one here. Gamefaqs. That's how I phonetically pronounce it. In which case, ironically, apparently the majority of people say Gamefaqs, which I think is kind of stupid, but whatever. I just say Gamefaqs. But I guess it's because I imagine the younger people say the Gamefaqs, and the majority of people probably, everybody over 25 or over 30 probably says Gamefaqs, and then everybody else who says stuff is just weird. I'm just gonna go over some choice polls. I'm not gonna do all these nowadays, so I would kind of say bedroom, which is actually where the majority of people play games. The next poll here is how many games do you actually own? Now this is actually pretty interesting. Just I guess because of my age, I had to kind of spitball this, but I would easily say that I probably own in between 201 to 500 games. Probably in my lifetime, I probably owned over 500, maybe, and it's kind of stretching it. But that's actually is kind of the minority there is the over 500, and then less than 10 is also the next priority, and then very sorry. I'm actually getting a lot of sleep here, but I did some yard work today. That's probably why I'm yawning here. So that's just interesting. That's how I rank there. Gamefly, as I pronounce that as Gamefly, not Gamefly. Basically, shows I have Alpha Protocol, and people are rating it really kind of low. I'll probably get around 7 or 8. You know, it's still a fun game, but I will fault it where it needs to be. And of course, releasing tomorrow is going to be Green Day Rock Band, which I'll be playing. Hopefully, is Green Day Rock Band, and then that's seeing what happens there. You know, depending on how much I play through Alpha Protocol. Essentially, when after I get all the achievements and I'm done playing and getting all the endings I want, I'll probably send that back, and maybe I'll try to get Metal Gear. But let's go and zoom out again. Talk about the game I got coming up. Oh, let me just real quick here mention I played some demos this weekend. I played the 99 Nights demo, which Dynasty Warriors. It's okay, whatever. I played the Blur and the Split Second demos, which are basically the arcade racers. In which case, Blur is more of a kart racer by the Geometry Wars people. So it's very bright, but I very liked how its style and it looked. And then, of course, Split Second's kind of the burnout, destroy the environment, to destroy your other racers. Both games are kind of interesting because they both come out in the same month, I think even the same week, and they're both arcade racers. But I still kind of just enjoy the serious racers, not the uber serious like Gran Turismo. But I definitely like the Project Got the Racing, and of course Forza 3 I enjoy a lot because it has a lot of aids and assists. When you can have the game play itself, I enjoy that immensely. That's what Forza does. And of course Forza also has the storefront where you can make your own decals and customs and stuff. And Forza is kind of broken the lead. It's kind of the basically driving game, period, for this generation, I would say. But anyway, I'm just going to move on to the game I got here out of the 200 that I own. It's going to be, boom, Xenosaga Episode 1. Now, of course, if you know me, I'm a big Squaresoft, not Enix, Squaresoft fan, in which case Xenogears was a great game back in the day. Of course, I remember playing the demo of it off of Final Fantasy VIII and just got really hooked into it. And of course, I'll get to Xenogears when I get to it. It's in, like I said, the display cases, so I'll get to those last. But Xenosaga was basically them kind of going back to that series. In which case, if you know the mythos, I mean, Xenogears is Episode 5 in this kind of grand saga. In which case, Xenosaga Episode 1 is the first episode of it. In which case, it's a good game. It's good story, good visuals, decent combat mechanics and everything. The problem with this game, the design-wise, this game pioneered or just ran with the ball of basically long cutscenes. Like literally, I remember a corridor. You would get in the corridor, 12-minute cutscene, walk for like 2 minutes, 27-minute cutscene. Like the cutscenes were just horrendously long in this. And then actually, this is the only Xenosaga game I played. Me and my girlfriend at the time both played through the first one. And then when the second one, third one came out, I'm like, I'm not going to bother. She played through them. And yeah, it just gets more and more drawn out. It's a good overarching story, but it just becomes really just drawn out. There are cool points here and there, and you got Cosmos, which is awesome. But the overall just pacing is very, very slow. But it makes sense. It's a good story. But I just couldn't get back into Xenosaga after basically the long trumps of time. I mean, basically, I remember just watching her play them and then watching the movie theater versions of it where people just took the movies and stitched them all together, and you could basically get the whole game from there, and the battles wouldn't be that much. But, I enjoyed the game to a set. It had cool characters. I like Chaos. I like Junior. They had decent backstories and whatnot, but I just really couldn't get into 2 and 3, unfortunately. But, that's just, neither here nor there. Now, this is the actual Square Enix game, or is this actually, what is this considered? Namco game, I'm sorry. This is a Namco game. I should probably do my research more. But, now we got the Xenoblade thing, whatever that is. But, Xenogears I enjoyed immensely back in the day. Xenosaga, it was cool and all, but I just couldn't get into 2 and 3. But, that's really about it. Just got to kind of relax this week and play some Alpha Protocol, which I'm enjoying, and I definitely recommend if you find it cheap or just rent it, people. I mean, the game shouldn't be justified, it's not worth buying. Just rent it. Just rent games. Blockbuster has $21.95 for unlimited rentals, or Gamefly, if you don't have a center by you. If you're a gamer, rent games. It's better than buying. I can tell you that right now. But other than that, as always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.